Is it true you always raise volume when ascending in pitch and decrease volume when descending in pitch? Thank you for this great question, Jen. And I say this is a great question because I'm sure you've seen those performances where that singer is going for that high note and they just look like they're really giving it everything. And so surely what that means for us as people learning how to sing is we need to give it that extra bit of volume, extra bit of power when we hit those high notes, right? Maybe not. And in fact, today I'm actually going to talk about why when you're going up and down your range, you don't actually need to change your volume. You don't need to give it more or you don't need to give it less. And if anything, being able to not do this is a greater sign of skill. Let's talk more. Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students all around the world over Zoom. And my goal on this channel is to make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible for you, the listener. Because let's face it, learning how to sing can feel confusing. And so if this is something that is up your lane, consider subscribing to this channel. And also, if you want to take your singing to the next step, there's also some links down below on how you can work with me more privately. Now, last but not least, if you want to inspire our next episode, just like what Jen has done here with this amazing question, then drop into the comments down below and let me know what you want me to talk about next. Okay, so first of all, context matters. Now, what I mean by this is how we treat the volume in a song is going to be very, very different to how we treat volume in an exercise. Now, the reason is very simple. The goals are very different. In the context of a vocal exercise, our goal here is about efficiency. How easy can we make this? In the context of a song, it is about artistic choice. It's about delivering and sharing an emotional message to your audience. And so let's dive a bit deeper into each of these situations. And so from a technique lens, when you're working through, vocal exercises, our goal here is to maintain an even sense of volume, which means as you go up and down my pitch, ideally we shouldn't be changing volumes too much. To understand why, we need to dive a bit deeper into vocal technique and understand some of the mechanisms here. Now, I have tackled a bit more of this in previous episodes, episodes like isolating the stretch, so make sure to check that out. But to give you an overview, there's really two functions here of our voice when it comes to singing. The first function is they connect and they press together. This is how they resist airflow and they create a sound. This is also what gives you that feeling of fullness. The harder you press against them, the stronger, the more full your voice sounds. Now, the other mechanism of this is the stretching mechanism, which is how we sing higher notes. As we sing up higher, the chords will literally stretch, which allows us to hit those higher notes. And so this becomes really simple. The reason why we want to maintain even volume as I go up and down my range is we're just trying to get our brain to understand that as we go up higher, I just need to stretch my chords. I don't need to press more or less. I just need to stretch them. And the more that our brain gets in tune with this, all of a sudden those high notes become easier. And counter to this, right? If every time I go up high, I need to press against those chords more, press against those chords more, all of a sudden we start to run into problems as well because there's only so much I can kind of press into this, right? Before my chords decide to give up. Now, for example, here on this exercise, say for example, if I wasn't keeping my volume even, like there's only so much I can go with that, right? As I go up higher, I feel like I'm just constantly pushing more and more and more. But what if I just kept the volume exactly the same? This might allow me to isolate the stretch. All of a sudden there's like a shifting or like a tilting up into my kind of head resonance, which is a sign that my chords are stretching really, really nicely. But I can only really isolate that when I don't change the volume at all. So now you know that in a scale, especially if you're trying to make your voice as easy as possible, we want to aim to keep our volume very, very even, keep the pressure very, very even. But what about in the context of a song? This is where things change a bit because sure, in the vocal exercise, we want to build some kind of independence between the stretching mechanism and then the pressing of the chords. But in the context of a song, the goal isn't about being the most efficient, right? Efficiency can really, really help. Having an easy voice to use really, really helps. But the goal of us when we're performing is we want to express, we want to emote, we want to deliver an emotional message to our audience. This brings a lot more choice into what we do, right? You can go softer, you can go stronger. The choice is yours. I mean, just look at the singing of some of your favorite singers. Sometimes they're leaning a bit more, there's a bit more volume, a bit more kind of press. Sometimes there's less of that. They even go into falsetto, or sometimes as they do technically, they stay right in the middle. The choice is yours, right? Ultimately, what matters most is serve the song. What choice feels best for that song? Now, one caveat here, and something that I've noticed, a great singer will do well versus someone who's just starting, is that great singers will tend to kind of stay in the middle and then they'll kind of deviate slightly to achieve the right effect. So they'll add enough volume if they want to kind of lean in a bit more, or they'll cut off a bit if they need. Whereas a beginner, when they are singing, they'll kind of go very, very drastic. They'll kind of go very soft, very, very loud. Great singers will kind of operate in a tighter band, and this often gives it this much smoother kind of feel because the volume is literally changing a lot less. And so even when you're practicing a song, yes, lean in, pull back the volume a bit if you need, but try to keep it a bit tighter. It'll make it sound much more smooth. Okay, Ivan, so you've mentioned that in an exercise I should try to keep the volume exactly the same, but then you've also said in a song, you can do whatever you want. What are you actually trying to say? So here is my recommendation. I would say when you're working through your exercises, do exactly that. When you're working through your exercises, all you should focus on at the moment, especially if you want to sing those high notes easier, keep the volume exactly the same. Try not to change anything. Really learn how to isolate the stretching part of your voice and ask yourself what that feels like. When you then sing a song, right, then you start to loosen a bit of the reins. You start to focus a bit more on artistic choices. But because you've already built this good foundation of understanding what that stretching feels like, then you're going to run into a lot less problems when hitting some of those notes. Anyway, that is a wrap, team. Hopefully you found value out of today's episode. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share this with a friend or family or even on your social media. That would really mean the world to me because it can help this channel grow a lot more. But it also means a lot of people can get access to very, very simple tutorials just like this. And as I said in the beginning, if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you're not making progress, if you want to just take your voice to the next level, don't feel like you have to do this on your own. This is where I can really help you. And so if you're interested in taking your singing to the next level or resolving some of those challenges you've got, check out some of the links in the description. I've got ways to work with me privately and also some self-study programs. Apart from that, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Ivan. I'm your voice teacher, and I'll see you every single Thursday or Friday for a weekly tutorial just like this. Take care.